Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod.
All right, well, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. Exciting stuff that's happened over the last couple of weeks. And yes, we missed a week, but that was my fault. As you can maybe still hear in my voice, I'm still getting over a little bit of a cold that dragged me down pretty big. Kicked my butt hard last week, so I took a week off. I'm so entitled. So entitled. Welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. Yes, I'm Jeff Potter. He's Scott McLeod. And we're going to talk some golf with you. Flagstick Podcast sponsored this week by Srixon Golf. At Srixon, performance is more than just a number. It is a feeling, and one that starts at the forge. Introducing ZXI irons with iForged, a groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating that's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. ZXI irons from Srixon, how forged should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more information and the full lineup of Srixon products. Of course, we do want to make sure you're following us across all of our social media networks. That's how we post things, talk about things: Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. And please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And of course, we really do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell to make sure that you don't miss any of the great stuff that we post up on our YouTube channel on a regular basis. All right, well, as I said, it's been an exciting couple of weeks. The Ping Challenge Cup wrapped up last week, Monday, Tuesday, and Scott had an opportunity to attend a little special event that involved the Ottawa Zone Brooke Henderson. And, of course, this other team kind of event happened recently. I think you might have heard of. It's called the Ryder Cup. Yeah. And I'm telling you, the Ryder Cup has become such a drama fest. It's almost overshadowing the golf side of things with all the distractions of the drama, and we're going to get into that a little bit on the back nine. Scott's not even in his normal spot. The blurred out background doesn't give it away. Scott's up in Toronto right now.
Hotel coffee.
Yes, it's okay. It's a Lavazza.
It's a Lavazza. It's good.
Why didn't you get up extra early and go down? You said there's a Starbucks in the hotel. Why don't you just go up extra early and go down and get a real coffee?
I was posting.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like a real coffee.
Yeah, I was busy posting great content to flagstick.com.
Oh, so. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Great content every day, right there. Scott's up there for a Golf Journalists Association of Canada event, and why don't we let's get the front nine going here, and then we can get into what you're doing up there. Sure. The front nine is presented by Metcalf Golf Club. Natural setting, a pleasant challenge. In case you haven't looked outside lately, there's plenty of time left in the golf season. Their course is still in great shape. Book and pay online, save 10%. And of course, popular game passes, which carry from one season to the next, are always available 10, 20s, and 30s. Lessons available with their head pro, Nick Search, and enjoy the great food of Hickory's Restaurant as well. Visit metcalfgolf.com. Okay, Scott, tell us about what is going on up at the up in Toronto.
Yeah,
the big TO.
We have for our Golf Journalists Association of Canada, which I'm happy to be on the board of for I don't even know how long now, 8 years, 9
Forever.
years, 10 years, whatever. We have an annual golf day where basically a number of the members kind of get together, enjoy some camaraderie, but also raise some money. We have a charitable component that's to it. We also do a collection of like equipment and clothing and so forth that we donate to, different programs and stuff like that. And then this year we added a panel as well. So we're at the Toronto Ladies Golf Club yesterday, just finished late last night. Great golf club founded by Ada McKenzie in 1924 in Thornhill. It was the first golf course that was established by women for women as a private club. Hadn't been there in 20 years. I did an interview for our old Central Ontario edition there in 2005 with Sue
Wow.
Wickware, which would have been two head pros ago. But they had their 100th anniversary last year, renovated the clubhouse. So that was part of the reason they invited a number of us out. A lot of familiar friends there, guys from Ottawa as well, Chris Stevenson, Tim Baines, Gord Holder. Some of that gang was down. But and then we had a great panel last night with it was a women in golf panel, and Claire Welsh, who's a longtime friend of ours, who is now the tournament director for the CPKC Women's Open. Hopefully, a podcast guest at some point soon. She'd love to come on sometime. Christine Fraser, golf architect, who grew up in the Kingston area that we know well, who flew in from Belgium and is on her way to Helsinki today.
Wow.
So, which was great of her. Amaya Athill, who's a really unique lady. She's a regional director for Golf Canada, but she's also a lawyer who grew up in Antigua, and she is also a PGA of Canada member as well. And Megan Gardner, who handles sort of heritage services for Golf Canada. So they spoke a lot about various aspects of burgeoning programs and so forth in the women's game, some of the barriers that are still out there, and it was really well received. Probably one of the best panels that we've had yet. So just a good solid day and a good reason to make my way up for Toronto, and I just didn't want to make the full drive back last night. So
Don't blame you.
As a result, sitting in a hotel drinking coffee and chatting with you, which is all good.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with drinking coffee and chatting with me.
No, there you go. I think we've done that before. Yeah, we'll have more about that pretty soon here in this podcast.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Well, listen, I'm unfortunately sorry I couldn't make it up again this year. I'm gradually starting to get back to attending some of the things that I've missed over the years. I finally. I finally made an OVGA dinner there when we did the Hall of Fame thing. Went to the PGA's 50th anniversary dinner with my wife Patricia, and starting to kind of get back into the attending things that I've missed so much.
It's just hard to get to everything. I mean, there's so many things that are happening all the time. That was a comment last night. We were chatting about some things. There's just so many things that happen.
Well, it used to be the priority. Year, so. Like, I mean, back in the day, this is, Flagstick's been going on now for 30 years. Yeah. Back in the day, I didn't. It was like I was, and you know how it was. I was like younger. You're doing everything. It's like
we were all younger.
I could get here, and I can drive over there and make that, and I can get to that, and I can do this thing and that thing. It's like, okay, well, those days are gone. Being able to run around everywhere and 12-hour drives here and there just to make a 15-minute event. So times have changed, but I am getting back around to getting to things. And one of the things that I have missed for a couple of years now, whether it was for COVID, whether it was because I had COVID or someone else had COVID, or I was looking after someone who had COVID, I missed the Ping Challenge Cup so many times, and tried to stay close to it while missing it. But the last couple of years, the Ping Challenge Cup, for those that we talked about this before 2 weeks ago that this was happening, but for those that need a reminder, the Ping Challenge Cup is kind of like this Ryder Cup style team event where the team of assistant professionals captained by Scott and the team of head professionals captained by me get together, and for the last 2 years, this year and last year, it's been a 2-day event that's taking place at Smuggler's Glen Golf Course down in the Gananoque area, Thousand Islands area, and the format is amazing. It's been a great weekend, and I was really happy that I finally had a chance to go down and spend the 2 days and be a part of the dinner the night after the first set of matches, be out there all day on the cart doing what we do best, Scott.
Drinking coffee.
Drinking coffee, driving around in a cart, looking like we actually know what we're doing, and watching some decent golf. Like that's on an awesome golf course. And that's what we did for 2 straight days.
we did.
We just watched it unfold in front of us, and wow.
Yeah.
What a great couple of days. Like, it's just insane. First of all, Smuggler's Glen
was mint.
I'm at the point now where there are some great golf courses in Eastern Ontario. We're blessed with some very awesome golf courses. Smuggler's Glen is in a category by itself as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
Yeah,
just because of the property that it's built on, because of the design of it, because of just the whole thing, the whole package, and it was in crazy good shape.
Yeah.
Like crazy good. Jason
It-
Boyce,
it-
the superintendent down there, and his crew just come on.
yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
can't. It's just,
Fortunate to spend some extra time there, and it's been that way kind of all year, and it's always remarkable to me because obviously we get these, the pros that come down. We have 24 pros, and they're coming from a lot of different facilities. And when you get some of them that are head pros at top private facilities, and they're going, yeah, this golf course is so good. And there's a lot of comparisons with Muskoka region and so forth, but
yes.
it's here, it's here in
Yeah.
Eastern
It's
Ontario.
not in the Muskoka region.
It's not in the Muskoka region, so it doesn't have the Muskoka prices and so forth. And as you said, the condition, I mean, I don't know how they do it. And I mean, I talked to Jason, as we got towards, I guess it was towards the end of August, and we were chatting a little bit and whatever, and you could just tell he's tired and stuff. And it's just that time of year. And obviously golf courses everywhere have been fairly short on water. So everybody's been working hard to keep them. And he there's such a point of pride with these superintendents, and they want the golf course to be in such great shape. And so they have to work extra hard to make this happen. So I would say, obviously this is not just about the Ping Challenge Cup, but I would say for everybody, make sure before the end of the season you thank your team at your golf course for this, especially for this year and what they've had to endure. Because I tell you what, a lot of them just don't go there and mail it in. They don't just take the paycheck. They take pride in what happens out there on that golf course, and they take it personally when somebody says something is poor, and they take it personally when they obviously provide some praise and stuff as well. So make sure you shout out the staff at the golf course this year, especially. So
there's gonna be a lot of superintendents that are going to be hibernating this winter.
I think so, and it's well deserved. And the cool part about Smugglers is that why it's such a perfect venue for this event is, as we know, in the design that's there, it's a very much, and I know it's a very cliche term, but that risk reward factor. This is a golf course that has a lot of holes where there are a lot of opportunities, and we talked about this before. We talked about match play, in the last couple of weeks, and we talked about what makes a course a good match play course, and we talked about this as an example, and there's a reason why, and it creates drama in the matches. And as a result of it, right from the start, it made a difference right from the first tee shot. Right. This was, we didn't know kind of what was going to happen. And, the head pros, had a big lead going into this as far as all time, at 9-5, and the assistants hadn't won since 2021. And, while we know the outcome of the event is not the most important thing, it's a lot of the camaraderie. It's that dinner. It's everybody chatting and jeering. And we know that, when we announce the pairings, that's some of the best that's there. I mean, everybody gets together that hasn't seen each other during the year. They might see each other at tournaments and stuff, but this is a chance to sit down and chat. And we got a chance to chat with lots of people, catch up on news, catch up on just life more than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And that makes it really, really special. And then, for us to have the privilege to sit down and do the pairings and try to figure out, how are we going to shape this and how's this going to play out?
Well, exactly. It's funny because there's more that goes into it than just trying to create matches where we're going to have advantages. Like that's
right. Exactly.
That's a small percentage
Very
of
much.
What we're doing is whether or not I think this person or that person can beat this person or that person.
Right.
It's really more about creating pairings that are going to make the whole event, especially on the final day, interesting. So it's not about necessarily the wins and losses. It's about the matches.
We're shaping the narrative, I guess, as far as what the experience is going to look like for everyone, because we want people to have a good experience, win or lose.
Yeah.
And we've been fortunate to be successful in that over the years. That there has been some lopsided events, and but it doesn't matter in the end. I don't see anybody, hanging their head because they lost, or, yeah, they might be a little happier because they won, but it's not like they're rubbing it in the face of the other people or anything.
No,
So,
well, not that we know of anyway.
well, except for
there might be some face rubbing going on somewhere, but we don't see it. Now, I guess some highlights of how this, might have played out. This ended up being the closest match in the history of the Ping Challenge Cup. Yeah. The victory was separated by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And a 1 point that in this case the assistant professionals needed that point. Because without it, it's a cup.
Well, we were down, right? So we were down after day one. We got down, and it felt like it's like, oh, here we go. You guys got ahead early in the 4-ball in the morning, and then maintained that lead in the afternoon, which the alternate shot stayed, was split. So it was like, what's
it was at 1
happen?
point again. It's like, okay,
right,
1 point up going into the singles matches, and no, it wasn't a 7-point lead.
No, it was not.
But it was a 1 point lead, so it could turn real quick, and it's just the matches were good. Like there was a lot of very close matches right to the end. And as it turns out, it ended up coming down to the very last hole. And the very last pairing, and the pairing that everybody in the room at dinner was praying that you and I would make, the match that we would make. And that match is between head professional Chris Barber, who is a multi-zone champion, very accomplished golfer, and his daughter Madison, who is new to the zone this year. And is a very accomplished female golfer in her own right, collegiate player, and it came down to a head-to-head match, father-daughter, and it looked like at one point that she was going to run away and secure her point like very soon into the back nine. But
she was making all sorts of birdies. The cool part with this is that because the way the matches are set up, where the players are off their appropriate tees, and Chris is a senior within the zone, and because of that he was playing off the whites, and Madison was playing off the whites, so they were playing off the same tees.
No advantages either way. This was head to head all the way.
And she made a bunch of birdies early in the back nine and made a run, and then she got up. I think she was 3 up at one point. And even Chris was like, and he knew he had to go to work. He really had,
and he did, and he went to work. And he brought it all the way back, got it to within. She had a 1-up lead going in the 18th. And they had an inkling, I suppose, of what was going on, but nobody really knew for sure until they actually were coming down 18, and she needed to have the hole, or she needed to win. Chris needed to win the hole outright, to get a half point. And that half point would have been enough for us. As the head professionals, she needed to take the full point to ensure that the assistants would get enough to win, and she got the full point. It was
let's just say it wasn't the prettiest 18th hole for the two of them. That created some drama for everybody that was waiting, because everybody was waiting behind the green. Because everybody knew what was happening with the matches, which again, it's like, okay, this is like it's like a dream scenario. Like it's a script,
it's right?
So, and you're just like going, all right, this is kind of what it's all about. So for the in the end, it's like she ended up with she could 2-putt from 15 feet and get that, and then yeah, it's a father, it's a daughter. We know we have kids or whatever, and obviously there's some pride there for Chris, and yeah, he's not want to lose to his daughter, but he's proud of his daughter as well.
Exactly, and you could tell that that's
Oh
after it was
God,
over. That was just
yeah,
like it's like this joy for her,
yes,
but the competitive nature of somebody like Chris.
yeah,
He wanted to win the hole and secure the cup. I mean, it was just so awesome.
it was cool.
Like just a great couple of days down there. And like we said, it's more than just about the win, the cup, the wins and losses in the cup and all that kind of stuff. It's just all of the camaraderie that comes into it, the culmination of an entire season for most of these head professionals, assistant pros that earned their spots on this
Yeah.
team. This is why the event exists. And hats off go to Andre Boris from Ping for Ping Golf for sponsoring and making it as big as it's become.
Yeah.
Obviously Carol Ann Baxter puts in a lot of work and to make sure that things are organized properly. We do very little aside from promote and discuss, much like we're doing right now, and captain these teams and drink
And drink
coffee.
coffee.
But that's part of it too. I mean, it's all part of it. I mean, us being
Yeah, it
involved
is.
is
Yeah.
part of the event, and having
Yeah.
that sort of head to head between you and I. Um, with the team making and the pairings and all that kind of stuff. So there's so much that goes into it and to making the event what it is and what it's become, and it just keeps getting better. Like
Yeah.
I can't wait for next year.
Yeah, and it was appropriate for a 15th year, like
Yeah.
for an anniversary, and for it to conclude the way it did. And I get it. Our assistance team is still down 9-6. I know.
Yeah, well, you're only as the latest victory is the only one that matters, right?
I guess, but again, I'm proud the trophy's sitting in simulator at the house right now, and it's sitting there for a little bit or whatever until it has to be engraved and so forth. But again, it's just it's really about being a kind of a special moment, and it's the 50th anniversary for the zone, and it's great to have another cool story to conclude the season as far as the tournaments are concerned for the zone.
Exactly.
So, yeah, happy to be part of it.
So there we go. Wrap on another Ping Challenge Cup here. Okay, before we get finished with our front nine here, I wanted to. There was one other thing. You've been a busy guy this
Past week.
past week. You were up in Ottawa.
Yeah.
And at a little event that involved Brooke Henderson out at the Camelot Golf Club. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because I was not
Sure.
there.
I went from a greatly conditioned Smuggler's course to a greatly conditioned Camelot course. Dude, that place was dialed. Unbelievable. Basically what happened was the Skechers was going to do an activation. Skechers is a sponsor for Brooke Henderson, and they want to do an activation out there. Here's what happens with golf pros, when they have endorsements with companies. They basically, all these companies sort of get days with players, so they're basically obligated a particular number of days. They had pitched Brooke about doing an event, and obviously when the athlete has a choice, they get to do stuff that they love to do, and for her, it was related to junior golf, and they gave her an option for something related to junior golf, and she was kind of all over that. And what they did was kind of a full circle moment. And here was the neat part. Skechers didn't even know this aspect of it, but we recall years ago, Brooke Henderson had sent a letter to Morgan Pressel, and Morgan Pressel had replied to her. So this is when she was little, and Callaway had brought Brooke out to, there was an event with Morgan at the Royal Ottawa, and what they ended up doing was arranging so Brooke could come and meet Morgan at that time. So Brooke would have been, I think, 10, 11, 12, something at that point. So that was kind of cool. Well, turns out Carly Mayer from Lansdowne, Ontario, won the Ontario Amateur when she was 14, just turned 17, is committed to go to University of South Florida. She had written to Brooke when she was a kid, probably around the time when she had maybe qualified for the drive, chip, and putt at Augusta and so forth, and Brooke had written her back and wished her happy birthday, wished her luck, and so forth. Carly actually had this letter there during that day. So I got pictures of it and I did post it. If you want to see it, it's on our Instagram. But so what they did was Skechers sort of pulled the wool over the eyes on Carly. Carly plays or wears Skechers shoes or whatever, so they're sort of two Skechers athletes. So they invited Carly up to Camelot for a media day, saying it was a Skechers media day for Skechers athletes or whatever. Lo and behold, I get there on the Wednesday, and Carly's out on the driving range by herself with all these signs, markers for the tee markers with the name on it, Skechers, with all these other names that are up there. Of course, she doesn't know that all those names are actually Skechers employees and not Skechers athletes. So there's nobody else that's coming.
That's beautiful.
So she's over there hitting balls and so forth, and she saw me and she's like, I'm standing chatting with her parents and she's trying to figure out why the heck am I there. I had seen her on the Monday and she told me she was going to this event at Camelot, and I'm like, oh, sounds interesting, pretending I didn't know anything about it, of course. So they then said, all right, why don't we get an interview? So they take her over and they have this video wall set up and it's facing away from where the clubhouse is, and Brooke meanwhile comes up from behind and surprises her in the middle of the interview. And she like turns around and sees Brooke, obviously, and they're like, they had never met before. Obviously, two Eastern Ontario products and talented young golfers. And then Brooke broke it to her that no, actually all those people, because Carly's thinking, oh, we gotta wait for the other people. And she's like, there's no other people, just you and me. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna play golf.
Wow.
Which was really cool. And so what they did was, Skechers was obviously collecting content and so forth. So they'll be producing that. We'll be able to share some of that as well. But they went out and played 4 holes, had a cart cam. They had videographers out there, drones out there, so forth. They got to chat, spend a lot of time together. Camelot members brought their kids out. So they kept it pretty closed, but they obviously discussed it with a number of the members that had young kids. So they were waiting up behind the 18th green, and basically they were down in the fairway getting ready to hit their approaches in, and the kids were chanting Carly, Carly, and
oh my gosh.
So it was really cool. And so they got that whole sort of tour experience or whatever, came up, obviously were greeted by everyone. Had a young member, the girl was so excited, she was vibrating, got to hand an honorary membership to Brooke for Camelot, which was really cool. And then ended up our portion of it. There was a video wall up top, and so they had initially reached out and said, hey, do you want time with Brooke Henderson, talk to her agent, stuff like that or whatever. And then I said, no, Flagstick would like to talk to both of them. So had the two of them, did a little interview with the both of them, talking about their day, their experience and so forth, just a short one. But again, it was just kind of cool as far as a surprise and activation, good content for them, but just a feel good story. Obviously they'll be connected now. And we've got, I talked to Brooke a little bit about that, of being the mentor now at, just 28, but obviously a 14-time LPGA winner. So, she wants to get back to juniors, and she was very generous with her time, signing shoes and you name it, but very relaxed, happy to be home, off now to Hawaii this week, and getting ready to start a stretch there. But a cool day, good activation. Camelot was a great host. They did a fantastic job with it. Membership, we're very kind as far as giving up a lot of time. They obviously had to give up space on the golf course for all this to be happening, because it was a pretty big production. But good to see, and it was nice to see some of the crew out there. I did miss Brandon. I don't know where he was.
On a sprayer.
Oh, okay.
He was on a sprayer. He said he saw everything that was going on, but he had to stay. Okay. He was on a sprayer, so he had to stay ahead of everybody.
Yeah, because they were up. A lot of the crew were up on the 8th hole, watching the players play off the 12th tee. So I saw a bunch of the crew that was out there. So, but yeah, there was a lot of people thanking them as well, because the course looked amazing. So, so thank you to Skechers and everybody involved there, and the ability to get out there and hang out with those two. So it's good stuff.
Sounds very cool. That'll be something that Carly will never forget. That's for sure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think she's still probably floating.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. At all. Okay, great. So we're going to leave it there for the front nine. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the back nine. We're going to get into Ryder Cup talk. There is no shortage of things to talk about. And I'm not even talking about who won. So stay with us. You're listening to and watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. We'll be right back.
How do you forge pure? With more pressure, more precision, more focus, more control. ZXI irons. Pure forged. Pure Srixon.
All right. Well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. Let's get right into this back nine because this is the big topic. The back nine presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Club. With 27 holes of fun and challenging golf at great rates, Falcon Ridge is a golfing experience you should not miss. And do not forget that Falcon Ridge has also built the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan Range is all about exciting, easy-to-use features that provide the ultimate range experience for every golfer at every level. It's practice, games, and virtual golf. To book tee times or to book one of the TrackMan range bays, visit falconridgegolf.ca. And it won't be long before we'll be saying book your TrackMan bay indoors, because at some point or another the golf season is going to end, and at Falcon Ridge it doesn't.
No,
So
it does not.
It just keeps going. It's a year-round affair out there.
You got it.
Okay.
Yes. So many ways we can take this.
Oh my gosh. I've been thinking about, even, last night I was thinking about looking at the show notes, thinking, okay, how are we going to spin this? What are we going to talk about? And then
my wife was sending me text. We were exchanging texts and talking about this at 7:30 this morning. So
I'm just not like, I've never seen so much drama. Like, I mean, I do remember there was an incident, I believe, at the last Ryder Cup, or was it the President's Cup, with Joe LaCava and Cantley and
Ryder Cup.
Yeah. Okay. So that was Ryder Cup, and that was probably the height of the drama of that Ryder Cup, other than the Ryder Cup itself. Like, that was probably the most sort of controversial drama thing. This one has been nothing. Has had no shortage of dumb in it, and that's the best way I can describe it. I mean, if you want to take an event that is in the golf world is like one of the most important golf events to happen every 2 years, should be one of the most exciting things for golfers to watch on TV, and turn it into a freaking soap opera. That's what they've done. I mean, let me, I'm not sure where to start, but I feel like I need to start with the golf course.
Okay. Before we can get to the golf course, let's just to set a little bit of a scene for this, because I think a lot of golfers nowadays, they don't know anything about the Ryder Cup. And you got to remember, this started in 1927, right? Samuel Ryder is a way to basically, pit a team from one side against team from the other, get together, much like our Ping Challenge Cup, for camaraderie, see who's kind of better on those particular days. Again, it was designed as an exhibition competition that has turned into a massive business, which I think has tainted some things. So that leads us into, it's like, okay, let's start talking about, you're right, the golf course itself. I mean, and the hype leading into it, which, I think a lot of people buy into and we buy into it a bit too, because obviously we talk about it lots or whatever. But it's like, we have to remember sort of what the essence of this event was, versus now it's obviously become a massive business, and there's a lot of people trying to make as much money off this as possible. So they try to, again, shape the narrative a fairly bit, rather than looking at the core of what's supposed to happen there. So let's start with the golf course for sure.
So the reason I want to start with the golf course is because the hype surrounding this is Bethpage Black.
Right.
Okay. And everybody, when they think about Bethpage Black, what do you think about? You think about that sign that's on Bethpage Black that this golf course is for serious golfers only, and
Yeah.
others shouldn't play it. And
Very difficult golf course,
yeah,
and a
no,
municipal
this
golf
is
course.
yeah,
We should
municipal
remember
golf course. This is
municipal golf course.
Bethpage frickin' Black.
Yeah.
You go to Bethpage Black to get the crap kicked out of you. That's why you play Bethpage Black.
Yeah.
This was anything but Bethpage Black.
Yeah.
This golf course was a pitch and putt for most of these guys. It was soft. The rough was low. There was no penalty for missing fairways. There was no penalty for missing greens for the most part. There was some thicker rough around the greens at times, but this was really kind of like an average PGA Tour event golf course setup.
Yeah.
Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Why even bother going to Bethpage Black if you're just going to turn it into your average whatever golf course? I mean, it started off right off the bat. It started because, again, the commercialization of a big event like this, in order to make sure they had room to put all the people around the first tee, they had to jam the first tee up, which brought in cutting across the corner and leading to people like Bryson and other guys driving it, 5 yards short of the green. That's not how you want to open your Ryder Cup.
No. If we go back and think about Ryder Cups at things like Valderrama, extremely difficult golf course, really testing the players and testing the skills. And I mean, when you think about it, and Keegan talked about it afterwards. He said, he wished the setup was different. But again, they have a choice.
But he controls the setup.
Correct. I mean, to a point. But I mean, yes, that was part of it. And he admitted that. And he said, that it should have been different. And, when guys are talking about, when pros are going out and playing practice rounds and saying, if this was a PGA Tour event here this week, it would be 20 under par.
Yeah. Or better.
That's not, well, and that's what they said. So that's why I'm quoting them. But yes, it could have been better. But yes, it didn't provide a level of difficulty that we'd expect that could lead into creating a little bit more playing drama as opposed to off-course drama. And, so we didn't see shots that, would bounce over a green or spin. Well, we saw a lot that spun back because they're all landing and sticking into every green. But it was like they're just throwing darts. And which is cool to a point that a lot of these shots are hitting in there, but again, it's not a separator, right? And when you have the best players in the world, you have to work really hard to separate the differences between the two on that particular week. And when you don't test their skills fully, you don't get the full outcome of an experience that is demanding of them, that we see in major tests. When we see, it's like, okay, who's playing the best this week, so that we can separate these golfers that are so good. Like, I mean, obviously, these are the best players in the world, but we have to have some separator to show off their skills. And you're right, Bethpage didn't deliver in that way. As far as the course itself, didn't show its teeth, didn't show the things that have made it the challenge of a golf course that it has shown in previous US Opens, PGA championships, Ryder Cups, when we go back and look at previous ones and stuff there. So yes, unfortunately, when you have a venue that's sort of just null, it's not a factor. So
when you take a beast like Bethpage Black and you dumb it down to its layout alone, it's a beautiful golf course and there's some great bunkering there. But I mean, I could probably count the number of times somebody hit it in a fairway bunker off the tee. On two hands. Like,
well, they weren't afraid to miss. That was the thing, right? So I mean, there was no penalty, as you said, on one. You just smashed it across, and if you ended up in the grass, no big deal.
But right? Do you feel that was partly an American thing? Because in my feeling is that making Bethpage Black play like Bethpage Black's supposed to play would have favored more the European team as opposed to the Americans, with players like Bryson who just bombed the hell out of everything. And I mean, there's a reason why he was 5 down at one point in that match. Yeah, and it wasn't because he couldn't putt, and it wasn't because he was getting rolled in on all the time. It was because he was missing. Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's putting it in play. He's hitting shots, like tight shots to greens, and he gets back in and he's Bryson. But if the golf course was playing with 6-inch rough laid over because it was wet, Bryson that match would have been over after 10 holes. Like,
if we look at Le Golf National when they had it in Paris, and you know, it was such a difficult test as far as missing fairways, you know, and then it demands more of the players. Whereas this, it's like, okay, just smash it. Yeah, just smash it. That's it. Just smash it. You're not going to be in trouble. So just you know, keep going at it. And if it's not playing its full length, then away you go. So, you know, might be a regret on, you know, obviously a lot of people's parts. I have no idea why the golf course was so soft.
Obviously, they only got a little bit of rain on Thursday.
Exactly.
It wasn't so the only way it could have been that soft is if they were watering the crap out of it all week.
And I know, like you, we were excited to see the golf course, and this didn't make it exciting. This made it feel like you were playing, you know, just a soft average golf. I mean, I think of the average golfer going out and playing that. Average golfer wouldn't have been scared of that, even with the green speeds up by a little bit, because it's like, okay, there's nothing knee shaking that's here at this point. So now we're taking that factor out of it, and that, you know, again, leads into a lot of things that we see kind of in the match. So, so that's the golf course.
That's the golf course. So that was part one, the golf course. Part two, the crowd.
Off the golf course. Yes.
Off the golf course. Now, I will say this. I don't, I think it was appalling, some of the things that were said. I think it was extremely disrespectful. But I will say, and has no place in the game of golf. I mean, golf is something, and at the same time, I don't know if you heard the interview that Paul Azinger did.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so Paul Azinger hit the nail on the head with this, and this is where I want to go with this. Okay, so yes, the accosting of Rory particular, and it really was focused a lot just on Rory and of course, and Rory,
he's the needle.
Yeah, and he is very easy to poke. Because his reactions are exactly what he gets, the reaction that the fans in this situation were trying to get. They were trying to rattle him. They were doing it wrong. They were doing it. Well, it worked in the sense of they pulled the worst out of Rory with respect to the verbiage and stuff. So this is where I will go with this. Totally unacceptable how that, but it was a small percentage of the entire fan crowd base that it wasn't like everybody was being stupid.
It was a lot, though.
It was, and I don't. Golf is different than, you know, you go to a soccer match in Europe and you hear that stuff, but you almost expect that out of a soccer match in Europe.
But it doesn't have to be personal.
That's and it got personal in that group in particular. Now, I'm totally.
You can't be yelling out crap like, "I hope your wife gets cancer." I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, totally.
Like, that's stuff that was going on. Like, just no.
So Paul Azinger made a point of where he was on board with Rory with respect to the crowds, and the way that he, in his interview, had said, you know, golf has to be to a higher standard and all that, and that was outstanding. But that higher standard has to apply to him as well. And and what I mean by that is the shut the F up and all that stuff. He needs to be better. And I know that it's getting
hard.
At you. Like, it's hard, but that's where you need to set yourself. That higher standard needs to be there. Is that you need to just turn around and say, "Come on, guys, really?" or something like you need to get that part out of the game on your side of it, so that you're not giving fuel to the fire. And I know it's hard. It's really hard. Because that's what they want you to do. That's exactly what they wanted you to do. Yeah. It wasn't just about disrupting your golf game. It was about getting your reaction, and they got what they wanted out of you. Right. Yeah. And so you fell into the trap. And I know it's hard not to, and maybe I would too, maybe you would, maybe everybody would. But when you are Rory McIlroy, or you are Tiger Woods, or you are, you know, Bryson DeChambeau, if they were digging Bryson like that, and his reaction was to turn around and tell them to F off, and then after he makes a putt, pointing up at the crowd saying F you, F you, F you, F you, you can't. You just can't, man. You just you gotta. You can't have it both ways. You can't have a higher standard and then lower the standard.
I agree. It comes down to some responsibility with the players as well, and I appreciated the fact that at one point, obviously in one of the matches there, Justin Thomas was trying to get the crowds to kind of, be more respectful during putts and so forth. Right. But you're right. The players have to play a role in that as well. And, one of the points that my wife was making this morning when we were discussing was, where has the commentary been afterwards now from not just the European side, but from the US side of those players coming out and, saying, hey, we need to be better overall, and our so everybody has a role in this, and here's what it comes down to. It's like, do you want to be Justin Thomas and showing your kids the behavior that's this, and this is the sport that you're part of? Like, I get it, and I condone sports fans being enthusiastic, and I'm totally with that, as you said, chants and stuff like that or whatever, but we can't condone. There's a line. There's got to be a line that's there. There's got to be a line, because the thing is, it's like, you know what? The more that you feed into that, you're just allowing it to extend further and further and further.
Yes, and right? I've heard interviews. I heard them do interviews with some spectators. And the spectators,
I know which one you saw.
This is New York, man. It's like BS. It's New York, my butt. Like, come on. It's golf. It's not about New York. It's not about Canada. It's not about Italy. It's not about and hey, if they go over to Ireland in 2 years,
sure,
for the Ryder Cup, and the Irish fans act like that. I don't think
still
they
not
would.
Acceptable. I don't think they would.
And again,
go ahead.
There's digging. And then there's I think I heard one guy say, he's sitting there chirping, Rory's getting ready to hit a shot. He's literally over the shot, and the guy's like, that's a daunting bunker up there, Rory. It's like, look at, man, you got to shut it off.
I think people want to be part of it, and you hear it at other tournaments and stuff as well. Maybe not to that level, but it's like, I've never been in the crowd at an event thinking I need to be part of it, so I need to yell something. Like, I don't get it.
No.
And I think the problem is that it becomes accepted. And I heard this this week where somebody said, well, it's just sports. You know what? It doesn't need to be sports. This is the problem. It's like, people sit there and can't complain about poor behavior and then just condone it and say, oh, well, that's just sports. That's got nothing to do with the sport.
It's not just sports.
And that's why I mentioned right at the very top, talking about the Ryder Cup and why it was started and the whole thing. And I think part of it is that, you get sort of the storylines leading up to it. And, we talked about it too. We knew the crowd was going to be part of it. And I think, some people have mentioned it is like, well, now sort of the crowd feels they have to be, they have to live up to their reputation. So they go at it. But I wasn't on the grounds. I don't know how people got tossed out or whatever. But I mean, even the PGA of America got caught out because their MC was leading the FU Rory chant on the like, seriously, like why is that?
Just drives me nuts. I don't get it. And the American team, the players of the American team, a good chunk of them, they asked for this.
Yeah,
and they asked the crowd to bring the chaos. And what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah. And here's the big problem with it. We're probably 20 minutes into on this discussion. We haven't talked about a single shot. We haven't talked about the tournament. We haven't talked, because this becomes the storyline. As if this is what the Ryder Cup is only about. Like, I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't want to watch it on mute. So it's like, I want to see good. I want to see good golf. And we saw good golf. That was the cool part, was that, what? As much as so the hostility didn't really help the US as much as they think. Enthusiasm is one thing, but trying to be derogatory and be part of it and interfere with the other players, and that's what it came down to.
Yeah,
it's like you can cheer and whatever, but don't interfere. As a spectator, you don't need to be part of the competition and trying to change the narrative directly by whatever exactly you're trying to do. Yes, it's like cheer and support, but here's the side of things: spend more time cheering on your players and not just crapping on the other players. Like that was the sad part, is like why are you not cheering for Scheffler and cheering for all your guys, like cheering for
we're
JT,
supposed
whatever.
to, at golf events, we're supposed to applaud good golf.
Right.
At Ryder Cups, we're supposed to applaud at high levels our team's great shots.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to softly applaud the good shots of the other team when they hit good shots.
Yeah.
And it's okay to clap when the other team misses a putt that awards a half point or a halved hole to your team. It's okay to applaud a bad shot.
But it can all be done respectfully.
Yeah, it's golf. You don't have to go then and say the guy misses a putt and you start chirping saying, blah, 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 you're this and you couldn't make a putt, blah. It's like, come on, like we're supposed to be better than this. Okay.
We'd hope so.
Let's move on from that part of the conversation.
Sure.
Another thing that we want to talk about real quickly, and this I do want to talk about real quickly, is the envelope. Okay? So here's my take on this.
Sure.
I agree. I think the rules should change. And I'm going to tell you why I think the rules should change. It has nothing to do with the point. It has nothing to do with the half point. In this case, the saddest part about this envelope, and I hope that people understand this, the saddest part about this envelope is not the split point. It's not that Hovland couldn't play because of the injury. It's because it is that Harris English made a Ryder Cup team. He may not ever make another Ryder Cup team. And because of this rule, Harris English did not get to play the singles matches in the Ryder Cup. The biggest thing in his golf career that may ever happen for him, and he had to sit on the sidelines and watch. That is why the rules should include one extra player per team that does not participate in the Ryder Cup unless it's required in the singles matches only. Yeah. So if they need a substitute in the regular matches, that substitute comes from another player that's already on the 12-player roster because four guys are already sitting.
Correct.
When you get to the singles, if this happens, you have one substitute player. If you need two substitute players, you forfeit the point.
Sure.
That's it.
Yep.
That's what I think the rules should be. And it to me, it's for Harris English, not for a Hovland, who was the one that was injured. So I agree with that. That said, shut up because it's the rule. Stop complaining about it because it's the rule. And it's the rule was formed in 1971, I believe, is when this
79.
rule was
79.
79. When this rule was put in place, and everybody agreed to it, and all the captains agree before the Ryder Cup to the captain's rules of play for the week. If you had a problem with it then, you should have brought it up then, but you didn't because it could have favored you, Keegan, as it did in 1991 with Steve Pate. When the Americans won a very, very, very closely contested Ryder Cup that year. And so that point mattered, that half point mattered. And then again in 1993, Sam Torrance was injured and the Americans won that one as well. So just zip it. Like here's the thing. You're embarrassing yourself with complaining about things that were in place prior to the event happening that you agreed to. So don't just let it go. Behind closed doors, figure it all out for the next 2 years, and then when the next Ryder Cup comes in, you can announce that rule has been changed to this, and this is going to be the one extra player per team, whatever. And now instead of complaining about it just after you lost, deal with it, fix the problem, and move on. Okay, that's all I gotta say. I don't know if you agree. If you agree, great. We 100%. Can move on to another topic.
100%. Next.
Okay, so. Let's talk about specifically the thing that happens every year. Seems to happen every year. It doesn't happen every year, but I'm generalizing.
Every 2 years.
Yeah, every 2 years. why do the Americans struggle so much in the team part of these competitions? But they're looking for the answers too. And we talked about it, like,
for sure.
why are Americans not more team players? Why do they do so well in singles? Well, first of all, let's look at the singles matches very quickly. They were all pretty much one-up victories, except for I think 3 of the 6 matches that they won were 2-up or 3-2.
A lot went to 18.
Yeah. So this is not a case of the Americans are dominating the singles. They didn't dominate anything. They won, which appears to show domination because they won 6 of the 12 matches. But 3 or 4 of those 6 matches that they won were only one-up victories. So they're far from dominating.
And I would say the intensity is a little bit different on a Sunday. And I mean, you can't avoid it or whatever, but maybe where the Europeans a little bit more relaxed, where the US sort of a little more fired up because they realized they had to do what they had to do.
Whatever to lose.
What exactly at that point? So it's like give it whatever you want. I mean, when we look at it, obviously, the Europe has won 9 of the last 12 Ryder Cups. So the U.S. is definitely struggling here, and I think part of the issue when we start to look at it is as much as there is still domination within world rankings for whatever we take them for. And we see, the U.S. still providing the greatest number of players that are out there playing the professional game. We have to also understand this is more of a world game now, even more than ever. So we have more talent that's all over the place. So, we saw this back in the day when the, it became Team Europe. It used to be GB and I, and obviously they add Europe to make the matches more competitive. There's a lot to be said here that, I know ego plays a part, and my US friends will probably yell at me for saying this, but they have to realize and understand that, maybe the US is just not as dominant as they need to be, and maybe they need to add something else to add this event to make it more competitive. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's Canada. I don't know if that's, making North America, whatever the case may be, change formats, whatever it is. But if the goal is to have matches to be more competitive, something maybe has to change. If the goal is just to have these two get together and you play and whatever it is, then that's fine. We'll leave it at that. But definitely when we look at how Europe plays, I don't know, maybe it's the underdog mentality, but maybe it's just the fact they do have a greater level of talent. I don't know. I mean, the US did play well in early, when you look, but the Europeans just played better. And it seemed like there's just, I don't know, maybe they're willing to put aside their egos just a little bit more.
I would agree 100% on that statement. Yeah. I think that, and I don't know why, we stereotype Americans as having big egos. And maybe that's their fearless leader right now kind of epitomizes the biggest ego of them all. But that's not how I look at it. I mean, I don't see my American friends as having big egos.
No.
I see the country as having a big ego. But I just feel like when it comes to golf is they don't strive, they don't aspire to win Ryder Cups. I feel like that's like when it comes to golf at the highest level, the Ryder Cup is not the biggest thing in their life. Winning majors, winning tournaments.
They say it is, but
they say it is, but it isn't. You can tell that it isn't.
Yeah.
But when you talk to a European player,
it's everything.
It's everything to them. It's kind of got that sort of soccer mentality to them, where it's just winning the team championship. It means more to them than individual. And maybe it's because growing up, they don't win the major championships the same way. You know what I mean? Like, it's only one person that wins a major championship. It's not America that wins a major championship, but
I'd still say it's a little bit of an underdog sort of mentality, a little bit. And the thing is, you're right. We can't look at it as being the selfish versus selfless sort of aspect, because if you look at the US's top players, Scotty Scheffler, and he's probably one of the most selfless people in the game, right? And yet, he starts the event 0-4-0. It's just he struggled, and obviously he won his match against Rory, but I mean, it wasn't like he
Yeah, but again,
dominated him.
is that where we see the difference? Is all of a sudden Scheffler is no longer relying on himself. He's relying on somebody else,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have confidence in somebody else
Possible.
to be able. And whereas in the European team, they
have the ultimate belief in each
one another. They believe
other.
that listen,
Yeah.
you hit a bad shot, I got you. Whereas you feel like if Scotty's playing with somebody who hits a bad shot, he feels like he's fighting an uphill battle all day because he doesn't have control, and he needs to have control. I don't know.
possible.
I mean, it's and Scotty Scheffler's has shown some true colors, over the last while with his attitude and his anger when he's not playing well, like visibly the calm, cool, collected. So he's got a side to him as well. But maybe when it comes to a team,
younger.
maybe when it comes to the team game, they just don't. They talk like they're a great team, but they're still a bunch of individuals. And I don't know. Maybe when they play, it's about scoring and not about winning. I don't know. And I don't know that they can answer it either. I really don't. Maybe it comes down to how they pick their players, and who they rely on. Clearly, they didn't have any confidence in Harris English, or his name wouldn't have gone in the envelope. They should have had more confidence in Ben Griffin. Because this is a guy that was playing good golf leading into the Ryder Cup, and I think maybe they relied too much on their horses, like Bryson and Scotty and Schauffele and Thomas, and they weren't necessarily all the ones that were playing outstanding golf leading into the Ryder Cup. I don't know.
I think it's hard to. I think it's hard too when you are those big horses. You're also the ones that are under more scrutiny. You're the ones that are being tasked with more questions. You're doing more things that require more energy earlier in the week and so forth. Because if you look at the press conference, for example, you can get a group of the players that are in there, but Ben Griffin's not getting dinged with a whole bunch of questions, whereas JT Scheffler or whatever, they're getting all asked or whatever. So there's a million different theories that go to it. I will say, captains definitely get too much blame and too much glory in all of this, and we know as a result of it, you can do a lot of different things with pairings and so forth, and you can, but in the end the players have to play.
I was going to say that at the end of the day, take your pairings and throw them out the window. At the end of the day, the players have to play. It doesn't matter who you're playing with. You're supposed to hit the ball in the fairway, hit it on the green close to the hole, and make the putt.
Make putts.
So what difference does it make who you're playing with?
Correct.
It really shouldn't. That's the goal of the game. If it's alternate shot, I'm supposed to hit it in the fairway. He's supposed to hit it on the green. I'm supposed to make the putt. End of story. It's not like, I paired him with this guy because this guy has a tendency to hit more fairways than this one. It's like, well, that's a stupid way of doing the pairings. They're both supposed to hit it in the fairway. That's golf.
You can try to figure out as much as you want, but again, you have to play bigger and better in the moment in the end. And, I've always said that from a coaching perspective, it's like, players play. Players hit the shots. The coaches can help them as far as preparation, but ultimately the responsibility comes down to the players to be responsible for themselves. And any time that they're not, and if they're deflecting blame on anything else, then that's not great. They need to take responsibility for themselves. And unfortunately, we're in a time period where a lot of people, it's easier just to make excuses and pass on the blame to other people rather than saying, you know what? My bad. I didn't make the putts. I didn't hit as well as I could. Maybe I didn't prep the way I should, whatever the case may be. So, it's just unfortunate. I mean, I will say, it went from being, a massive blowout. I mean, I played golf Sunday morning and really didn't have a lot of interest in what was going to happen as far as the outcome, but I flipped on and I started watching the matches, and you sort of get a feel right away that, what, this could swing, but I mean, I didn't think at any point the US was actually going to win it, although they, obviously they got close. But at least it made it somewhat interesting on a Sunday, whereas I imagine a lot of people flipped over and, we're watching football rather than
no question. I mean, it definitely, I watched it. I mean, I got myself sucked into the possibility that the Americans could make it really interesting, which they did. But you did get the sense that the points were enough of the points were out there that the Europeans were going to retain, and it was not going to happen. But great. I'm glad that they pulled it all together, and and as individuals and played individual golf the way we know they can, and showed that they're all good players. But to say that they were dominating on Sunday just because they won 6 of the 12 matches is kind of not paying attention to the matches.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Especially when you look at, some of the wins, the wins were, one putt on the 18th green. That's not dominating.
No, that's not dominating.
That's one putt in one situation that we happen to get the point. So Adair is going to be very interesting to see how they move forward. I don't know. I mean, they're going to analyze this to death, and we'll see another task force, and we'll see a million things, and they'll try to figure out all the different ways to win it. But in the end, you know what? They got to have 12 players that are going to play their hearts out and play better than the opponents that they're facing for 3 days at Adair Manor in 2 years from now, and that's all they can do. It really is. That's all they can do. So
exactly. All right, well, let's close the book on another Ryder Cup,
sure.
And next year we can talk about the President's Cup. Boy. All right, well, that's it for us for this week. I think that's enough. Still way more to talk about, but we're gonna leave it at that. Thanks for listening, tuning in. Thanks to all our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor this week, Srixon Golf. Srixon Performance is more than just a number. It's a feeling, and one that starts with the Forge. Introducing ZXI irons with iForge. Groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating that's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. Introducing ZXI irons from Srixon, how Forge should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more information and the full lineup of Srixon products. Hopefully you've been enjoying listening and watching. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe to Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell, and make sure that you never miss a single episode. And get yourself over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every day. Be sure to subscribe to our Flagstick Digest newsletter, where we deliver that thing to you 3 days a week, unless circumstances prevent otherwise.
Yes.
But as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I'm Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Always remember, go for the stick.